Hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel. And I do not know what day it is that we're on because I had a predetermined posting plan, but it's been pushed back because I've been having some technical difficulties, and I think the it's because the internet's a little bit slower, and unfortunately my plan does not give me. It only gives me internet for basic things in what that I have. Honestly, I wish it was a little bit higher. I actually might contact T-Mobile about it, but yeah. So because my plans have been pushed back, every video is a little bit later. So I might end up posting everything when I get to the US. But in any case, welcome to today's video. I'm back here to review Girls of Fate and Fury. I'm super excited. So here is our synopsis. But before I do, please note that there is content warning for self-harm, and there is some references to sexual assault in this book as well. I am going to talk about it here a little bit, the whole sexual assault thing, because there's something I want to talk about that I didn't mention in the second book review. It kind of makes sense to mention it here, I feel, and I don't know. It just felt right. So yeah, those are my warnings. But here's my another thing. If you hear the fan, yeah, it's warm here. Anyway, here's my synopsis. The epic romance of Lei and Ren comes to a breathtaking conclusion in the explosive finale to the acclaimed New York Times best-selling Girls of Paper and Fire series. Don't struggle, Lei Ji. It's time to take you back to the hidden palace. You're going home. The jaw-dropping conclusion to Girls of Storm and Shadow left the fates of Lei and Ren hanging in the balance. There's one thing Lei knows. She can never return to the hidden palace. The trauma and tragedy she suffered behind those opulent walls will plague her forever. She cannot be trapped there with the sadistic king again, especially without Ren. The last time Lei saw the girl she loved, Ren was fighting an army of soldiers in a furious battle to the death. With the two girls torn apart and each in great peril, will they reunite at last or have their destinies diverged forever? Okay, so one thing I want to mention is that I really do not like that this is being described as a romance, because I am telling you that it does not feel like a romance. It feels kind of more like something with really low fantastical elements, but nothing like a romance. So things I wanted to mention before we get to the review is, so in Girls of Storm and Shadow, we have the author basically left a note and explains that Girls of Storm and Shadow is kind of like it was kind of like a, if I remember correctly, it was a what's that called? Kind of like a story of trauma recovery, as best as she knew how, because she is it implies, the note itself, that she herself was sexually assaulted, and she was and Girls of Paper and Fire basically became the story that she needed to write at the time. And there's another note here that tells them that too, that it was a story that she wanted to write, but it seems it also said that there were other people that enjoyed it, and there was also the story that other people needed as well. So it also says that she's going on the journey that the paper girls will now have to go to or through. And I think that is an interesting reason to write the story. I'm not judging the author's reasons for writing the story. I'm just saying it's interesting, not in a bad way, just that it's like interesting, that she took the story she needed to write, the story that she needed, and wrote it down. I think that's an amazing an amazing thing to do. I can relate in a way. I find that writing is very much therapeutic to me. When I write, even if I'm not talking about my actual feelings, I still get some stuff out. It still helps me to write into another character and be in another character's head because I'm not thinking about the things that are happening to me all the time. But there are other times that I need to write a story that specifically relates to me in one way or another because it helps. So I can relate to that, and I feel like reading those author notes at the end of these books definitely helps me understand the series a little bit more. I don't know about any other reader, but when because I got to read the author notes because I was reading the audiobook. I usually skip acknowledgments and things like that, but I did decide to read the author's note when it was being read to me by our lovely narrator. So I feel like reading these author's notes definitely helps me understand the series better, and I definitely recommend that you do read the author's notes because I think they will give the series a bigger understanding. And I also think that, again, the author wrote the story she needed at the time, and that she needed, and the story is a great story, and I think it has a great conclusion, and it also has a great arc in general. I did enjoy the story, and I enjoyed reading it, and knowing why she wrote it was also made the story a lot more sentimental to me. I still have some criticisms of my own, but I'm not criticizing the author, I'm just criticizing the story itself. So I do have criticisms of my own, but I did enjoy the story, and I feel like the way that the reasons she wrote it are very much valid, because sometimes you can find, or at least for me, I can find therapy, or like not therapy, but like I can find release in certain ways, and writing is one of those ways. So I think having that knowledge base informs the story much better. So now that I decided to get a little too personal, um, here we go. This story is split into two point of views, thankfully, because in Girls of Storm and Shadow we did get mostly Lay's point of view, but we also got a couple of other people's point of views because they what was it? They basically like had a they basically had like a couple 3 chapters of other people's point of views in the palace and stuff like that, probably to give us like a view of what's happening in the palace as well as what's happening outside. But now the author, basically, she had now Lay and Ren's point of views, which is something I wanted, but not the way that it was written. I'll be honest, Ren's point of views are all in third person, and I just didn't enjoy her point of view in third person so much. I guess you could argue that it kind of works because Ren is a little bit less personal than Lay, but still, I feel like, I don't know. I'm just picky, and I prefer first person if you're going to do it, or if you're going to do third person, like stick to, basically I prefer readings that kind of stick to one specific one specific narration style, um in order to make it easier to kind of like read. To me, jumping from first to third person actually takes me out of the story. Um, the only time I think I would like be okay with like certain things coming up, like I'll talk about it in a couple of other reviews, but basically there's a book series I'm going to be reviewing, and basically we go from um we go from traditional narration styles all written in first person, and then we go to like data entries in and we have like we basically go like that through like data entries between chapters, passages about the world. And we also, that's also another story I've read that also has narration style like that, but sometimes we jump into like other mixed media type formats like interviews and things like that. So I'm okay with those, but I will say that in this case, because it's traditional and we're jumping from first to third person, I get taken out of the story really easily. So for me, it's just too much. I don't enjoy it. And the romance still doesn't feel right. It just feels like, I don't know, I just don't enjoy the romance. The one thing I think I liked about this book, this is not a criticism I have, but this is something I found interesting, and that is that by the end, the king felt more like Voldemort from Harry Potter. Basically, he was a guy that was technically afraid. Like he did everything because he was afraid, and he claims that he wanted to, he wanted to be king and do all the stuff and be like a loyal, not loyal, but like have everyone in peace, right? But by the end, when he was defeated, okay, I know I'm spoiling a little bit, but I'm not spoiling how, so I don't consider it a spoiler. But like by the end, when he was like defeated and got his stuff, he just like died like Voldemort. Like he died like Voldemort, and it was just like, okay, you know. One of the things I also enjoyed about this book is that it finally explained a little bit of the magic and the sickness that's going on around the lands. It finally kind of expanded on it, so I was very pleased with that. Girls of Storm and Shadow also introduced one of my favorite characters. She was mentioned in Girls of Paper and Fire, and that is General Lova. But we got to see a little bit more of her in this one, and I really like her. She's sassy and awesome. So I enjoyed seeing more of Lova. And definitely more of Nita. She's just amazing. I love her so much. As well as Marin. He was great too. Another thing I like is that in the first book, Girls of Paper and Fire, we have one of the people that was mentioned was the Demon Queen. I actually don't remember her name, which sucks because I really liked her, even though she barely appeared. But the Demon Queen was mentioned, and because someone asked about it in the first book, and it turns out she was basically only there to breed. She was basically only there to like to provide an heir. That's all that she was mainly for. And we got to meet her, and she was an interesting character, and I like the way that her very small arc ended. I think it was a great powerful ending, and I think it was really interesting. Overall, though I have my criticisms with the romance and a little of the writing, I do think it was a very strong conclusion. I did enjoy it a lot. And I like that it was kind of open-ended when it came to the journey of the paper girls and all that stuff. Some things were basically kind of like told like that happened throughout the years, but it was kind of open-ended when it came to the journey of the paper girls, and I can appreciate that. So yeah. Anyway, so that is my review for Girls of Fate and Fury. Let me know what you think if you have read it. I think it's great if you let me know that, because I look forward to basically hearing all of your what is it called? Why am I like stuck on words? All of your thoughts. There it is. I'm just lost on thoughts. Okay. All of your thoughts in the comments section. So yeah, let me know what you think, and I will see you tomorrow and the next day, whenever that will be, for recommendations. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 2 parts. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a 2-part thing. So yeah, I'll see you for recommendations, and yeah, see you then. Until my next video, consume stories.